take a look at the 2019 micro question number 3, and this is from set number 2, which is a payoff matrix oligopoly type question. So they set us up at the beginning here. We've got Jackpot Florist and Boulevard Gardens sharing the market for floral bouquets in Tulip Town. Jackpot is deciding whether to close at 6 p.m. or to close at 9 p.m. and Boulevard is deciding whether to offer delivery or no delivery. The payoff matrix shows the annual profits. And then, as usual, right, the left entry corresponds to the firm on the left, Jackpot, and then the second entry corresponds to the top firm, Boulevard. Okay. Assume both firms know all the information in the matrix and act simultaneously and independently, right? So this is a straightforward payoff matrix problem. And first question, they want to ask about Jackpot's dominant strategy. So what we need to do first thing, and I'm going to suggest here, let's take Boulevard. Let's underline them in red. And again, you know, if you need to write this on the side, that would be fine. But we need to, first of all, let's figure it out if Boulevard has a dominant strategy. So let's set Jackpot to 6 p.m. And let's look at Boulevard's options, right? So they can make 30 or they can make 20, right? So 30 is better than 20. Okay, so now let's go down and set Jackpot to 9. We'll look at this row. And we're looking at Boulevard's payoffs. So we got 50 and we've got 40. Well, 50 is preferable. So you notice in both those cases, no matter what Jackpot did, Boulevard should choose delivery. So we're going to write dominant strategy is delivery. Okay. All right. So let's erase those. All right, so now we're going to set, let's set Boulevard to delivery. And now we're going to look at Jackpot's payoffs, right? So we're going to compare the left-hand column, left-hand numbers in this column. So we got 35 and 25, so 35 is preferable. And then now we're going to set Boulevard up here to no delivery and look at this column. And we've got 45 here and 55 here, right? So that's preferable. So you notice Jackpot dominant strategy is 6 p.m. Okay, so let's, we got that figured out. Let's erase some of this information. And we know the two dominant strategies, so now we can start answering our questions here. So part A, is Jackpot's dominant strategy close at 6, close at 9, or does it not have a dominant strategy? Well, we already went through, we figured this out. So that answer is right there. Now, part B, suppose Jackpot chooses to close at 6 p.m. and Boulevard chooses no delivery. Is this profit maximizing action by Boulevard? Explain using values from the payoff matrix. So this is an odd way to phrase this question. But if we think about our two dominant strategies, right, we should be able to figure out our equilibrium point, our Nash equilibrium. So Jackpot, we said, was going to choose 6 p.m. And Boulevard, we says, was going to choose delivery, right? So we know we're going to end up at an equilibrium point in this box. So this question, part B, is asking, or it says, suppose Jackpot chooses 6 p.m. Okay, well, that was their dominant strategy, so that makes sense. And Boulevard chooses no delivery. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? So we just said their dominant strategy is to deliver. So now the question is telling us they're doing no delivery. And then they're asking, is this profit maximization action for Boulevard? Well, no, right? We already did that work. So explain using values. So what they're saying is, okay, Jackpot did 6 p.m., but Boulevard did no delivery. So compare these two numbers, right? Well, we know they're not going to no deliver because $20 is less than 30. So their dominant strategy is over here. So the answer to this question is no. And then something referencing those payoffs because 30 is better than 20. So why would they do no delivery when they can do delivery and make 30? So as long as you phrase that and use those numbers, you should be good there. Okay, now part C. So we already figured out the equilibrium here. And they're just asking you to essentially read one of the points on there. So how much profit will Boulevard earn in the Nash equilibrium? And it's sort of, continuous from part B. So Boulevard earns 30 in that case. Jackpot earns 35. All right, so suppose these two firms merge to form one company with two locations and still face the same actions and payoffs. Which strategies would the new company choose to maximize its combined profit? Okay, so now what we got to look at, we're talking about combined profit. So we're going to add these numbers together and figure out which combination gives the highest payoff, right? Because remember, think of them now as one firm, even though there's this payoff matrix, they have merged to form one company. So they want to maximize total profits, right? So let's just jot this down. So we got 35 and 30, so that would be 65 in that box. 55 and 20 is 75. 50 and 25 is also 75. And then down here, we've got 85. So for part D, they'd be down here. So it completely changes if they are one single firm, right? Because this maximizes the total amount of payoffs. Okay, so we don't need to give any explanation. They just want to know which strategies. So in this case, it would be 9 p.m. and no delivery for, and if you want to reference, Jackpot does 9 p.m., Boulevard does no delivery. But the point being, you have to find this box and then explain that that's the maximum payoff. All right, let me scroll down a little bit so we can see questions here. All right, so part E. Now assume instead of merging, Jackpot proposes a plan to cooperate with Boulevard. Jackpot would agree to close at 9 p.m. and Boulevard would agree to no delivery. So they're agreeing to be in this box, right? They're sort of colluding because they realize that's the maximum profits. Now they recognize that firms might have an incentive to cheat, right? So they're going to, if either firm breaks the agreement, it must subtract $12 from its profit that is then added to the other firm's profit. So there's going to be a sort of enforced penalty for cheating in this scenario. Now, part one, assuming the agreement was in effect and enforced, redraw the matrix, including the players' actions and payoffs. Okay, so this one, you got to kind of think about who's cheating, right? So in this case, they're both abiding by the agreement. So I'm going to just do it off to the side here. So this one would be 45, 40, because they're both abiding by the agreement, so there's no penalty imposed. Now, let's go over to this top left box, in which case both firms are cheating. So interestingly, it doesn't change the net effect there, right? Because both firms would be cheating. So both firms have to give subtract $12 and then add $12, and then the other firm has to do the same thing. So the net thing, the net effect is zero, right? It's a wash because they both cheated. So that's the same. And really where you have to figure out who's cheating, and then which one do you have to take 12 from, subtract, and then add 12 to the other one. So let's do this box down here. So this should be 37 and 38. And up here, we've got 43 and 32 it was. And that's just, you get that from, okay, they cheated, so we have to subtract 12 from there. So 50 minus 12 is 38. add it to them. 25 plus 12 is 37, and that gives you your sort of new payoffs. And you do the same thing up here. And again, these two were not affected at all. So that's your sort of new chart. You could probably draw it a little better than I did. Okay, we got that. Part two, assuming Boulevard is a profit maximizing firm and there are no antitrust concerns, would Boulevard agree to Jackpot's proposal? Explain using specific values from the redrawn payoff matrix. So it might be good to quickly kind of go through and figure out what's the dominant strategy. So we can say Jackpot, right? 37 is better than 35 and 45 is better than 43. So Jackpot's dominant decision is 9 p.m. And we can do the same thing over here, right? 40 is better than 38 and 32 is better than 30, right? So their dominant strategy is, I can't remember, was this no delivery? Yeah, no delivery. So their dominant strategy is on this side. So the equilibrium is now at this point. And then the question is, so for Boulevard, is this better than when they were not agreeing to anything? So we go back to our initial equilibrium point, and Boulevard's profit was 30, and now we see that Boulevard's profit is 40. So the answer to this question is, would they agree to it? The answer is yes, because their new payoff is better than the previous payoff, right? So they can make 40 in this scenario, where they were only making 30 before, because remember at the beginning we were up in this box up here.